A very good afternoon to all our viewers, and welcome to a beautiful scene of some very large elephants against the beautiful African sky from Old Donyo. Very warm welcome from all of us here at Wild Earth. I'm Jaapie Potgieter, and I'm going to be your host this afternoon. I am extremely excited with a start like this. It can only be good. A lot of big bodies around this small watering hole, and clearly it looks like there's not too much space. I find it amazing that they do space out perfectly along the side for us to view them. That's quite interesting. Both of those elephants still had water up their trunks. The moment they started pushing, they both released. Oh, and still has more. So I just want to remind our viewers that the show is live and interactive, and you can go to our website and register there, and then you can also ask some questions, which of course I'll try my best to answer. And you can also join the conversation on the YouTube chat, and you can go at FC and you can send through some questions and comments. You can also scan our QR code at the bottom of the screen, and then there's also X or Twitter, where you can join the conversation on hashtag WildEarth. Fuzzy Dunlop, you're saying it's a happy waterhole, or you're saying happy waterhole Wednesday. Yes, indeed. Definitely happy waterhole Wednesday. Quite a relaxed atmosphere here. You can see from these elephants. I can see it looks to me like it's very hot there. These guys are lazily interacting. Some of them seem, ones on the left seem like they don't really want to get involved with the other two. It seems like the behavior is infectious. So this elephant moving around now has decided to move to a different side. One has to admire the group dynamics of elephants. And sometimes, even with animals, some of them, they will have their different goals and their different reasons for being here. Some of them just want to cool down and drink. And then, of course, there's those that wants to enjoy a little bit of social interaction. And when water's few and far in between, obviously, you can meet some rowdy characters when going for a drink. But what an amazing start. I think what we'll do is, while we leave these elephants to figure out what they want to do, we're going to head over to Tembe and see what's happening at Tembe. And here we've got some elephants in the shade. A little bit less rowdy than some of those younger elephants we saw around the watering hole at El Doño. These ones are just taking a rest. Doing the usual skin maintenance. And staying out of the warm Maputaland sun. Veldkind, hi to you too. Thank you very much. It's good to be here. Good to be spending some time with these animals this afternoon. Now, I have to say, I haven't been doing it too long, so there was a lot of firsts yesterday afternoon, but I have to say one of the things I enjoy most around these watering holes is the presence of the elephants. It never gets old watching them. And what a spectacular, very unique opportunity we have with the Africams, being able to show us these glimpses into their daily lives. While these elephants are resting out in the shade here, we're going to head over to Victoria Falls. And let's see what's happening there. Whoa. And here we have a vulture and marabou frenzy. What a sight. There's so much happening. One of the first things that strikes me is the marabous standing around looking like they want to get in on the action, but they can't. Kind of moving in the little gaps that's here and there. So let's see if they power their way in there. There we go. There's one going in trying to grab from the vultures. That's very special to see. And then there's another one that's kind of got forced out by a rotating ball of vultures, basically. Interesting here how the large bird's size is both a disadvantage and an advantage at the same time. It can be utilized, but with effort. Where the lower white-backed vultures tend to get in there easier. I guess they're also better adapted for the tearing. And then I can see some hooded vultures on the outskirts. Just waiting their turn for any scraps. They know their place in this hierarchy. Lots of different beaks going at whatever remains they were fed. I can see that they're making short work of it. You can see as the little balls of vultures kind of diminish in numbers. Well, it's difficult to say exactly how many, but I would say, just from a rough count, it'd probably be close to about 100 vultures here. That's not even counting the marabou storks. Therefore, a vital breeding colony. Very, very essential to the protection of the species. You can see the marabous just stepping in every now and again. They can't stay in there for too long. You have to fight for whatever they can. Catherine, I missed your comment earlier. You're saying that it was a great start to the show. I agree. As far it's been action-packed. Certainly has been. Calvin O'Driscoll, I'm very happy to hear that it's making your work more bearable. A nice little relief, and hopefully a chance to at least pique an interest, maybe even learn something. One of my favorite things about watching animals, birds, or watching nature is the fact that you always get to learn something. Always something new, different areas. Felt good indeed. It was feeding time at the Vulture's restaurant. You can see that kind of as soon as the meat was putting in, the energy was put into the area, they all started moving, and we had a lot of movement, spiraling movement, almost like atoms that gets heated up. Now the meat's done. Now slowly but surely things are normalizing. We can start to identify more individual vultures. You can still see one or two desperate ones using their rather odd gallop to chase some of the smaller birds or younger birds. And my guess would be this is where the marabou would probably take its chance and use its size to bully some of the hooded vultures out of the scraps that remains. I agree, Catherine, it's amazing to see these vultures. I think, funnily enough, this is one of my favorite Africams to watch, actually. I find them so funny, so unique in their movement. I guess it's also the fact that they always have these very, I guess, the association with vultures and the marabous are usually not very pleasant, and I think a lot of it just stems from misunderstanding, or maybe just not being aware of how vital they actually are. And what I find funny is once they approach some of the little clumps of vultures feeding on whatever remains are there, and you notice they puff their feathers up and make themselves look very big and menacing when they walk in. And once they get in, as soon as they get a gap, they just lunge their heads in there. And then as soon as they're done feeding, they turn around and they drink some water. Sandy Franklin, you're asking why the birds are fed. That's a very good question. I think probably one that a lot of people tend to wonder about. But there can be, at certain times of the year, there can be enough food in the wild. But the problem we face with vultures, a vulture is a very unique bird. It flies at extremely high altitudes, and it picks up on anything from very, very far out. So in areas where there's different land uses around, you might find sometimes that there might be some food that's not ideal. One of the big issues or threats that vulture populations currently face is potential poisonings. And poisoning is not necessarily done by poachers to hide their tracks, but it could be from various uses of medications within livestock, and sometimes if they die, vultures pick up on that, and that might also be poisonous to them. But due to certain habitats being vitally essential to their nesting grounds, one of the reasons why they fed these vultures here is to keep them within this area, also to sustain the populations. But it is certainly to aid them. And to keep them from traveling too far off to go look for other less wholesome sources of food. But that was quite the eventful few minutes. I think we're gonna leave those vultures and we'll head over to Tower Lodge. Let's see what Africam's got around the watering hole there. Looks very busy this afternoon. There's a warthog with really big tusks walking in there. He doesn't seem too old. A waterbuck. Young one there at the back seems like he's particularly struggling there in the mud. It's not deterring him, that's for sure. And a few zebras. You can see this green grass up on these muddy flats is attracting a lot of fortunate antelopes from near this watering hole, as well as a warthog. And we see a young male waterbuck coming in. And another one. There's an impala, a lone female. She seems rather pregnant from here. Some wildebeest in the background, another big waterbuck bull moving over to the rest of the group. It's really busy here this afternoon. I think it's a perfect time. I'm assuming it's also because there's less of the elephants around. Another herd of zebra, some zebra moving away. Maybe they've already had a drink and they're heading back to their patch, which I'm pretty sure won't be too far. And here we have the single impala ram. For the past few days I've seen this guy around. Seems to be always focusing on that one patch on that side. And just look at that. You can see that waterbuck sunk. His forelimbs have sunk deep into the mud. It just goes to show how deep this mud actually is. It looks quite hard and dry on the surface, and then once these animals step in, we can see that they do sink. I mean, a waterbuck bull is quite a heavy animal, but it just goes to show the lengths that they'll go through to get at that green grass, especially this time of the year. This young bull is cropping every single angle of that little mud mound there. And just look how quickly those lips are moving, exposing the incisors, which is used to crop off the grass. And of course it moves to the back of the jaw and its molars, where it's ground down and rolled into small little balls. It gets swallowed until later when they have time to rest. Can regurgitate and then continue their digesting process from there. Also a ruminant. Just look at the spectacular warthog. There's some very decent size tusks, those. You can see it's a male warthog. One of the reasons for its common name is those big warts just below the eyes and above the tusks. The indication of a male. We can actually, now that he's opening his mouth and feeding, we can actually see the smaller lower tusks. You can just see how extremely sharp those are. And that constant moving, it's very essential to the process of sharpening them up. That way the friction created through the continual grinding makes them extremely sharp and very potent weapons. I don't know, we often hear or even see videos online of predators like the leopard or the lion taking a warthog, but it's a pretty tough meal to catch, especially a big male like that. just stopping and having a quick look over towards the others. No. You can see the tongue going, vigorously licking around the lips, and also it looked like he was opening his mouth quite widely as he lifted his head. I'm sure he's probably picking up quite a bit of the mud while feeding, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it does affect their teeth. Certainly the back teeth, the molars, essential to the way they feed. And over time, too much other matter in between the grass can certainly grind down those teeth and potentially provide them with problems. Let's see, I wonder if he's going to move over to the others or not. And I think he's got another good patch that he might finish off first. So we're going to head over to Oldonio, see if those elephants are still around the watering hole there. Oh wow, that was quite unexpected. You can hear the elephants. You can hear them being rowdy off in the distance. And we've come across some others. Maybe some of that playful fighting escalated a little bit. They certainly sound very exciting, or excited. And this is quite interesting. These oryx are looking in all different directions. I wonder, it could be that the elephants' sounds are making them or prompting them to be a little bit more vigilant, or a little bit more nervous. What a beautiful antelope. What a variety of species that we get to see around this watering hole. Eland, giraffe, elephant, oryx. A unique array of species. Very, very unique habitat. You can see quite a bit of greenery there in the back. find interesting is the region that Aldonio is situated in. A very, very unique ecosystem. Southern Kenya, and between Tsavo and Amboseli, and it supports a wide abundance of animals and a massive amount of diversity. And a lot of these concessions or ranches are owned by the local people. And it's one of the largest areas where a massive amount of large mammals get to roam freely. Yeah, the area is an interesting climatic and ecosystem zones. It's considered arid to semi-arid, and yet we see quite a lot of green in the background. Part of the reason why we see these antelope, the oryx here, very, very well adapted to these kind of conditions. I've just been informed that the one elephant was chasing off a zebra earlier. And what we're hearing is possibly the aftermath of that, which can occasionally happen. Elephants can become very upset for various reasons, of course, and certain climatic or conditional factors in their current environment, along with some of the social stress, maybe from a younger elephant or a female in a herd and pick up and get forced by some of the larger animals away from the water's edge or so. Often they build up that frustration, and they might take it out on something else, something nearby, which could be any unfortunate mammal visitor to the water. Even long after the irritation has been removed from the area, the elephant might still continue. Oh, what beautiful antelope. It almost looks like there's a little bit of a hesitation to go drink, or they already have. And here we are, one's moving, maybe the others might follow. seem like they might maybe stand a little bit around, and it might take a while for them to make their decision. So we're gonna go see what Africamp's got at Juma. I did not expect that. That's pretty exciting stuff. Look at that large catfish. This is a very, very interesting situation here. Now I can hear it's very windy, but you can hear the noises. And I'm pretty sure that catfish is trying to capitalize on the catch of the stork, which I'm assuming is aware. That's why it's just trying to keep ahead. There we go. See, as soon as the stork stops, the catfish is moving back over. This is insane. This is a very, very unique sighting. It looks like the saddlebill stork has got a tilapia of some sorts in its mouth, and it was stabbing at it with its beak. You could see it was starting to pierce it and break it up in smaller pieces. Of course, the catfish must know. I was hoping to be able to grab a piece of that, should a piece fall in the water, or even steal the whole thing. I'm sure. You can see it's getting closer. Let's see. Looks like there's a few more. Oh. You got a little too excited there. It looks like the stork's got it all under control. Won't lose its hard-earned meal to the catfish, but certainly a shining example of just how very resilient and opportunistic catfish can be. See, the catfish is also, whatever small pieces of flesh might be breaking off while this bird is feeding, they're also picking that up in the water, and of course following the scent, I'm sure, and the movement. But it looks like the bird is trying to decapitate the fish. Now it is quite a decent sized fish. I would have thought that it would have swallowed it whole, but it's have some other reason for that. Nick, this is indeed a live kill we saw. What an amazing sighting. And this is spectacular. With catfish as scavengers. Mercedes Bean. Yeah, I haven't seen this myself. I mean, I've seen saddlebull stork taking something, but I've never seen catfish following it. This is a scavenger. I'm also surprised that it's taking this long to dismember the fish. And Rocky, indeed, it's a nice catch. It's a big catch. I think this bird might even take a bit of a break after this. It looks like a female. I thought I saw a yellow eye, and I don't see any yellow wattles. The males have a black eye and small yellow wattles on the underside, right at the base of the bill. It looks like it's still going. Now I know tilapia does have these spines within their fins, which could be a little bit uncomfortable for birds like this, especially if the fish of this size. Oh, looks like a little piece that went off there, and of course all the catfish went crazy. It definitely looks like the bird is trying to decapitate the fish. There we go. Let's see. Or maybe it was just trying to split it up, make it easier to swallow. Yeah, that is indeed a big meal. There we go. Not just the easy one gulp. Might have bit off a little bit more than she can chew. As soon as that fish came near the water, the catfish stirred.
That is incredible. There we go. You can see it's still going down. It's not fully swallowed yet. What a sighting. Very unexpected, very unique. And that was a great catch. And I would be quite proud of a tilapia that size, if I was lucky enough. That was some wild stalk action there, and catfish action. Doesn't look like it's been too busy otherwise. You can see there's quite a breeze going. And the greenery there that we're seeing, those trees are mostly some smaller jackalberries and then some magic quarry. And what looks like a bit of red spikethorn. There we go. What do we have here? A buffalo. 2 buffalo. Just hiding in the shadows there. Or one. The other one seems like it's got its head down and feeding. What a good spot there by Camp. And the one standing in front, I can just see the jaws moving, so he's probably chewing the cud. I was wondering, I haven't seen buffalo on here for a while. There we go. Looks like a male. Thought I saw a boss there, which would make sense why there's only 2. The other one to the left, just judging from its pure bulk and the clear scars on the back and the flanks and the neck and shoulders, I would take a guess and say that it's also a bull. Not unusual for the older guys. Not even for just the older guys, also sometimes the younger guys. It's been bringing their part in the breeding herd, taking a bit of a rest from herd life. And Juma's been very productive, and what a few incredible surprises. So I hope that Tembi's got some surprises for us.
Looks like I've just had a bit of a technical issue there. Good to be back here at Tembe with quite a few relaxed elephant bulls. There's it's going. There's two there at the back. Seems like it's always the younger ones. It's pushing each other. I'll take this time to remind our guests of Ultimate Kenya experience, James Henry, next year, and May 5. 6 people, only 4 spots left, so it's important to jump on 50. Some of the talking points will be Mbuseli and Masai Mara. Mbuseli being near where incredible and well-known safari destination. Of course, at Amboseli, one's able to see Mount Kilimanjaro. And that's where the famous photographs of elephants with Kilimanjaro in the background gets taken. Very, very large elephant herds to be found in that area. And then, of course, the Masai Mara will be the best in. And that time of the year will be a little bit less people, so it won't be as busy. Of course, James Henry with you, which will make it interactive and extremely fascinating and fun. Opportunity of the best safari destinations in Africa. These elephants are quite calm and collected. Hot there, but let's head over to the cattle pan. See what's happening there. Close view of an elephant. It's trying to move away quickly before him. And all we can see is signs of old grass, disturbed soil, and a big flat. Broken trees. And then of course the well-known large birds. Reddish brown color. Got a blacksmith lapwing. Just look. Lots of signs of elephant, lots of signs of animal coming down. I can see some elephant tracks where I'm sitting. So there's definitely been some activity around here.
Hear a rattling testicular screaming there in the background. There we go, there's the blacksmith lapwing. At the water's edge. Taking advantage of whatever's been left behind by the creatures, even if it's just a scent that attracts flies and other flying insects, as elephants often. And there we can see it's a little bit of a trough. And I'm assuming that the pan around here is overflow water that goes in there. That was a good check-in to see what's happening at iPan, but we're gonna head back over to Tembi. Two elephants at the edge. The elephant's still on the edge, having a slow drink, and then one last. A windswept Nyala. It's looking into the wind there. In an alert. You can see that long fur of it and its mane just blowing in the wind. Now I'm assuming this Nyala that side. Windy days makes for more nervous moments with makes them give an eye on their eyesight. Provides a little bit of a challenge to the hearing. Short, quick gulps of water in the scan. Two young bulls in the shade is still very affectionate, very tactile relationship. And we can see that these two got a clear understanding of where they stand with each other. Got a hair in its ear. A pair of tusks as well. Quite a wide base. Yeah, the trunk, so it looks like a nice mature elephant bull. Together with its tusks and its ear, I'm sure it's got a recognizable individual.
interesting. Still seem less engaged than the two young ones, but there's certainly a conversation going on there. Well, these two look almost too lazy to properly push each other. Actions to kind of stretch it as well. I'm curious to see if this elephant that's coming now is gonna end, or if he's just gonna watch these two, as they often do. They learn quite a lot from each other. And another elephant. Getting quite busy. You can see this one wants to turn around now. A very popular spot of shade, that. Let's see if it'll agree. There you go, trunk in the mouth. Saying hello, reassuring the other one. They know each other. And coming in for a drink. I've always seeing that action, that elephant that's just approached. He took his trunk and just used his trunk, carefully dragging along the line, the top line of the ear, cleaning whatever was there, straightening out the skin. Maybe from whatever dirt the other young elephant has left on. Maybe just scratching. The folds at the back of the ear often gather quite a lot of mud. In that process we see the one at the back doing there, dusting themselves and mud. I also see it looks like the elephant's got a collar on. That would be a tracking collar. Tracking at the top.
behind the head on the neck, between the ears. And that would be with the signal to the satellite or the tower. And then of course to do some sort of a count at the bottom around the neck. Just loose enough not to be too much of a hindrance. Tight enough not to get caught on anything. Providing some very, very vital statistics in on elephants' movements, especially in these regions. One of the biggest things that don't always understand about elephants in particular is, and in general, long-term data or information of animal movements over very long periods is vital to understand animal populations within certain areas. It grants us better understanding of the certain move the cow spread or potentially spread well their resources, and in general a better world. Apologies, I had a bit of a technical issue there. Now we're back. And I can see it looks just slightly warmer. brightened up a little bit. Might also just be because the camera has zoomed out. It's quite interesting. This elephant's keeping his trunk in his mouth for quite a long time. It looks like these elephants are just having a drink around here. So I think we're going to head back over to Tao and see if a water buck is still around there. And here we have a nice big bull, and looks like a small herd full of younger ones. Another few waiting on the bank. See two baby elephants, always very special to see. It's always funny to watch them. They just watch the larger ones carefully. In some ways it looks almost like they follow them blindly. But they also need to wait their turn. This is quite nice to see that move. Okay, apologies about that. There's a bit of a connection issue on my side. And I can see in the meantime, the elephants have moved a little bit further away from the water. Looks like they're moving on, or at least some of them. You can see the little ones there getting prompted. Looks like a good spot there to stop and dust themselves. It's almost you almost get the feeling that they are quite reluctant to be moving away from the water, but they know they need to. They need to go and feed, which is one of the biggest things. One of the biggest things with elephants being such a large animal, only eating plant material, it needs to constantly feed almost. Veldkunt, indeed, it looks like an elephant day. It's certainly been a great elephant day this far. You can see it's quite interesting to watch here. I'm pretty sure that 3 elephants to the far right are related, mother and her 2 offspring, and then the 3 elephants to the left. Potentially, that would be my guess. And then that young bull. It looks like he's just wanting to make a friend there. But some studies in the past have revealed that some elephants out in the wild only sleep about 2 hours out of 24, some of the larger elephants. And a lot of it actually attributed to social stress. So there's definitely some degree of stress and nervousness that they have, especially in dry seasons where there's a lot of interaction around watering holes. Might not always be pleasant, especially if they've got little ones to protect. You can see there's a water buck just hanging out in the sun, or all of them. And we can see the lower jaw moving, eyes closed. So, the ears moving. Now every time it stops, you can see it waits for a few seconds and then it starts going again. Now is the time to chew the cud, so to speak, or ruminate. All the grass eaten earlier on, it's regurgitated and then re-chewed, re-masticated. Moving back down into the animal's gut and onto the next part of the digestive process. What a beautiful animal. They've got a little bit longer fur than most of the other antelope, and they found in very, very arid and hot areas, so we do tend to find them near the water regularly, but in part them just basking like this out in the sun not only helps them dry the longer fur, but it also aids in maintaining a clean coat. You can see the dried mud around the legs. And they've all gotten up. Well, not all of them. My mistake. You can see the females there without any horns. And what looks to be a young male. You can see 2 spikes there, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, yeah, something's clearly prompting them to move. I don't know if it might be the male that stood up and moved or something else approaching. In the antelope world, there's a lot of standing around and looking at what others are doing. I'm probably wondering what's going on. Interesting survival in groups and numbers. And to be quite related to the individual. In a group, it's easier to hide yourself and not get singled out. You can see they're looking in the direction where the male went, so I'm sure that's what prompted them. It's also getting extremely hot, usually this time of the day between 2 and 3. Tends to be one of the hottest parts of the day. Last little bit before we get the afternoon breeze picking up. So they might be going just to find some shade until a little bit later. Surfer Girl 326, you're asking how do we pronounce this antelope's name? It's called waterbuck, and due to their usual presence around watering holes, that's where the name comes from. They've got quite high water requirements, which requires them to stay close to water. But yeah, waterbuck. It's Quite aptly named, quite descriptive. There's an interesting interaction there between that male and the young one. I saw as one of the females moved past, it briefly had a sniff at her back end. Probably just checking her out, but this is definitely a smaller one than the male we saw walking off earlier. So I'm assuming this must be a less dominant bull. That was quite a relaxing chapter in the Waterbucks afternoon. See if it's as relaxing at Old Donyo. Nice big elephant bull with a big eland in the back. Oh, I guess that's like a African froze there. We're going to back at Tembe just to see what's happening here, and we can see it looks like there's a breeze. It's picked up. See that big tree near the water's edge. This beautiful bright green foliage is shaking. Almost like a little whirlwind that's gone through there. See some elephants way in the back in the distance. Maybe this breeze that's picked up might have prompted them to move away from the water's edge. I guess they had sufficient time to hydrate themselves. What a spectacular scene with different colors. And these vital open patches in and between this thick forest as we find in this part of the world. You can see some broken branches there, especially lower down, which I'm assuming in part might have been elephant. Elephant can be quite a curious creature, and sometimes they just follow the actions of others, especially bulls. I recall reading once a study done many years ago in Zimbabwe, if I remember correctly, where the aim was to determine whether elephant bulls have any particular reason for breaking branches, and if they just follow suit from others. And I remember one of the outcomes of the study was that they do tend to encourage each other when they hear the noises. Now here we've got quite an interesting pair feathered friends, the hammerkop. It's very oddly shaped hammerhead, hammer-shaped head. Probably looking for some frogs. And amongst that vegetation there. Then interesting heron. Which looks like a squawko heron, if I'm seeing correctly. One of the often overlooked residents around watering holes like this. You can see it's standing painfully still there. You can imagine that this part of the water must be quite productive. There we go, let's see, that heron looks like he's stalking something. He went after something. Might have even got something there. Just a flick of the feathers. Two very active little hunters. And we've got another elephant back to the water's edge. I find it quite amazing. These elephants come around and they drink one spot and they move over to the next, and it seems like they all head to the same spots to drink. You can even see where the grass is worn away, like this one. I'm pretty sure he's going to stop there and just have a taste. No, maybe not. He did put his trunk down. Probably just investigating the others that's come past. And a very important reason as to why these elephants make use of these watering holes. It's not always just to drink, cool themselves down. It plays a vital role in communication, knowing what's going on, see where the others have moved, which ones have moved through. And in the back, see in Nyala, busy with the odd behavior. Oh, no, it's just drinking. I thought a moment ago I saw it put its head down onto the ground. Looks like a nice muddy patch. Maybe. There's a bull. Occasionally they do cover those big horns of theirs with mud to make it look even bigger. He's sniffing around there, maybe he's sniffing which other males came past. Females. See, it looks like he's trailing something. Look, he's got his nose down on the ground, so probably following with scent. Maybe you have a younger male might have come past, or a female. Might be in heat. What a beautiful view. Beautiful blue sky getting reflected in the water there. See the wind running along the water surface. Hammerkop and Squacko. Still hunting the marshy edges of this watering hole. Very different strategies we were witnessing here. One relies on stealth, standing extremely quiet, ever observing its surroundings, and then the other one actively prodding around. Now, Hammerkop in particular is known to be quite a resourceful bird, an interesting bird, revered in almost every single local culture all across Africa. A unique shape, a rather large bird. Very adaptable. See, the heron looks like it spotted something. Here we go, neck out. Slow approach at first and then speed up just before it strikes. So let's see. Now Hammerkop just taking its chance to have a bit of a wider look. Up, and there it goes. Off it goes. And the heron is unfazed. Patch all to himself. And then we have quite an interesting bird. It looks like a yellow-fronted canary. That's quite a nice one. I haven't seen him on the Africam yet. Just cleaning his bill. And hearing them all around. Beautiful colors. Bright, bright yellow. Look at those long thorns on that. The Chelia, as it's known now, formerly an acacia. The new green leaves sprouting quite heavy, very long thorns. I'm assuming being this close to the water, it needs all the protection it can get from the never stopping onslaught of browsers, like the elephant. And we have a warthog. Grazing unperturbed. Doesn't seem to have a worry in the world. You can see he's moving very, very slowly, small steps at a time, and then turning their head in different directions. Now they cover quite a good patch like this, and I've noticed from watching them that they can easily flatten a section like this. And near the water, always where the greener grasses, especially now, find that the elephant coming to drink. There's a lot of other benefits to the area and the animals around it. Just want to also let our guests know about another exciting adventure that's happening next year, which would be Gorillas and Safari, and that will be with James Henry. We'll be traveling to Rwanda and Kenya, two amazing destinations in Eastern Africa. It'll be next year, September in 2025. It'll be for 6 people, only 6 spots, and it will be a chance to get to see 2 of Africa's most iconic species, gorillas, and then of course safari afterwards. The migration. First gorillas and then the migration, that's certainly top of a bucket list of anybody. And then of course there's also the chance to see the migration from above in an air balloon trip. Something very, very, very unique, very special. Not many people get to do. And if this is something you'd like to do, definitely take this opportunity. An interesting view. You know, I can see all of these palms are a little bit damaged. I can see some palm fronds are completely torn off with some broken branches. Of course, the elephant dung. It looks quite destructive. And elephants can be. But it's also interesting to note that this area, they've been quite calm. Haven't seen too much of that. Yeah, what an afternoon it's been. It's been extremely exciting. Had a spectacular sighting of a saddlebill stork with this fish catch. Getting followed by the catfish. Had lots of beautiful elephant interactions. Great birding moments this afternoon. Certainly one to remember. Not every day that you get to see a sighting like that saddlebill stork hunting fish. I'd like to thank all our viewers. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, joining me, and from all of us at Wild Earth, we'd like to wish you a good afternoon. We hope that you stay on for the live safari, and we hope that you join us again tomorrow to see what unfolds around the watering holes. In the meantime, I'll leave you with these beautiful views of Tembi.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amy, and this is the show where we look at the highlights of the most recent safari drives. This is On Safari.